depends what you mean. My favorite for a while has been the so-called ontological argument, where you sort of think God into existence. I think it's quite fun. You can just do it from an armchair. It doesn't require any observation. I mean, that's quite fun. I mean, it goes back to St. Anselm, who is praying. He's writing down this prayer. And he sort of challenges you in a way. He says, can you conceive of the greatest conceivable being? Just think of the greatest conceivable being.
Mm.
So whatever qualities it has, power, goodness, all this kind of stuff, just turn it up to the maximal conceivable amount, right?
Mm.
You got it in your head? You're picturing, you're thinking of just the greatest conceivable being? Okay, does that being exist in reality? Here's the problem. If you say no, then you're not doing what I asked you to. Because you can conceive of
But isn't that a limitation of the mind? I mean,
yeah,
we talked about this in terms of the Baha'i faith, about God being the unknowable essence, and that men have created a God in their minds that they falsely worship, right?
But we're not talking about God. We're just talking about the greatest conceivable being, which by definition, you can conceive of. You just go to the ends of your conceivability.
Okay.
Now, Anselm's like, you can conceive of that being existing just in your mind, or existing in your mind and also in reality. So if the thing you're picturing is something like a really powerful, really loving, really, great being, it kind of approximates what people call God. You can imagine that either just existing in your mind as you're thinking about it, or maybe it exists in your mind, but it also exists in reality. But if it exists in reality and the mind, then it's greater. It's got more existence, right? And so when you're just asked to conceive of the greatest conceivable being, if you're not automatically thinking of a being that exists in reality, then you're not thinking of the greatest conceivable being. But because you can think of the greatest conceivable being by definition, you're automatically thinking of a being that exists in reality. Therefore, this God must exist in reality. It's my favorite because it sounds a bit stupid.
Stephen's that. You're not buying it. We can't.
He said, what about the greatest conceivable unicorn? This is the greatest objection to Anselm, as people say, oh, well, you're just thinking God into existence, because what about the greatest conceivable unicorn? Like, okay, but what you've just done is limited your scope. Because I asked you to imagine... the one on the mug.
Unicorn right here.
I was like, okay, imagine the greatest conceivable thing, right? And I'm like, that thing must exist in reality. Okay, well, the greatest conceivable unicorn has limited our scope, right? There could be a unicorn that you're imagining that's greater than another unicorn you're imagining, right? Okay, we can make that unicorn a better unicorn, like giving it a sharper horn and a more beautiful mane or whatever. But like, even if we imagine the greatest conceivable unicorn, we can make that unicorn a greater conceivable thing by giving it even more qualities. Well, let's make that unicorn all powerful,
telepathic, and it
doesn't make it a better unicorn, but it makes it a better thing, right? And so, like, the question is, does the unicorn existing in reality make it a better unicorn than just existing in the mind? And it seems like kind of not really, because the things that make a unicorn great are things like a nice mane, a pointy horn and stuff. And the one in your head has all of those things. It has all of the things that are the great making properties of a unicorn. It's all in the one that you're thinking of. And if it existed in reality, I don't know if that is a better great making property of a unicorn, right? Whereas if you're asking about the greatest conceivable thing, then you're maximizing all the properties, not just the unicorn making properties, but all properties a thing can have, including levels of existence. It's a bit much. Like, it's why I sort of hesitate to bring it up, because it is my favorite.